Going gluten-free is popular right now. A lot of people say they feel better and they're able to lose weight when they eat foods without wheat. So how can you eliminate gluten, and should you do it? Are foods labeled gluten-free really good for you? We need answers.
Yes, we do. Maria Viall is a certified holistic nutritionist and lifestyle coach, and she's here with more on why all the hype is on gluten-free and the pros and cons of this diet craze. Is it a diet or is it a way of life?
So it's one of those things that there are a lot of nutritional benefits, and some people show a lot of improvements by going gluten-free, but again, food diet industry is so smart and they've hopped on this, and it's become, in my opinion, a huge fad, and so people are going about it maybe not the right way.
Speaking of fads, we asked on Facebook, energy drinks, good or bad? I got to know what you think.
Terrible. I mean, honestly.
Really?
And it's not just the caffeine. I mean, some of those implications are from like all the colorings, yellow 5, a lot of these neurotoxins. And then I was making a joke before, I'm like, it probably is labeled gluten-free. I mean, it's like, you know, water has gluten-free on it. That's when you know it's become all of a sudden a diet fad. Like, water shouldn't really have any sort of like health claims. Water. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so let's kind of break it down right now, you know, why removing it is a good idea or not from your diet when it comes to wheat. I have a friend who has celiac disease, and she always says, if you don't have celiac, why would you get rid of all the wheat and stuff in your diet? But other people will say, get rid of it and you'll lose weight.
Well, and just to clarify, so gluten's a protein. That's hard to digest, and it's found in a lot of wheat and other grains. And it can cause inflammation in the intestinal tract. So when somebody is completely intolerant, like celiacs, they can't handle ingesting it at all because it can be quite painful and even cause some malabsorption issues. Now, people can be sensitive to it and experience certain symptoms like belly bloat, lethargic, muscle ache, depression even, and this kind of brain fog that people will remark being lifted if they remove gluten. However, there's an argument that we've become very sensitive to gluten, which has been around. I mean, gluten's found in like bread, pastas. I mean, this food has been around for ages. So all of a sudden now we're so intolerant and sensitive. So there's an argument that it's more so our digestive tracts are a lot weaker because of all the refined foods in our diet, all the processed foods. And so you throw in something like gluten, people will start having some chronic inflammation.
What's your opinion if someone comes to you and they say they don't have a sensitivity necessarily and they don't have celiac disease? Is going gluten-free a good idea for everybody?
I always tell people if they're coming to me, they probably have some sort of imbalance. And so if you are inflamed and you do have some inflammation or headaches, I always recommend to remove it for a healing phase so that they can clear up some of this inflammation, strengthen their digestive tract, and then maybe bring it back in as some healthier quality sources. Sprouted breads, you know, more whole grains. The problem is most gluten things that people eat are really processed refined. Donuts, cookies, cakes, bagels, you know, these things that are empty calories.
Yeah. I remember when we had the author of Wheat Belly on our show, and he claims there's no pure wheat or grain really anymore. It's really hard to find it because everything is so processed. We don't even know, you know, we're getting such processed food. But you brought some great alternatives. I've tried these crackers before. They're in my cupboard. I'm obsessed with them. I think they're fantastic.
Well, and here's the hang up with gluten-free. So people will go gluten-free and they think, all right, I'll remove gluten, and then all of a sudden everything's better. I'm going to lose weight. This is the answer for it. But gluten, just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean it's healthy. You still need to look at the ingredients. So that you can have a gluten-free cookie, but it's still a cookie. Yeah. And it has a lot of sugar in it. The substitute then are things like tapioca starch, which can act like gum and glue in your intestines, and it's not good for you either. So the reason people might lose weight, that's the big thing. Do you lose weight going gluten-free? Is that they're removing a lot of these starchy refined foods and replacing it with more nutrient-dense foods like vegetables, lean proteins, nuts, and seeds. You can actually gain weight going gluten-free.
Yeah, because I've heard that gluten-free foods, or a lot of them, are very calorie dense.
So they can be calorie dense, but what is the calorie coming from? That's what I always try to tell people. Don't just look at the calorie, what's in it. So if the first ingredient sugar, and then it's followed by tapioca starch, and then, you know, the ingredients are like a mother lode list, put it back on the shelf. And that's why I brought like Mary's crackers, because if you look at it, it's like sesame seeds, nuts, rice. I mean, you can look at all the ingredients and say, I know what that food is.
And you can see it in the cracker.
Right.
You also brought, is that a quinoa? And what's the other thing in the jar?
So, yep, quinoa. And I brought probiotic food, so Bubby sauerkraut, it's a probiotic live culture food. I brought this because if you feel like you are suffering from certain gluten sensitivities, if you feel like you're lethargic or you have a little belly bloat, that's the biggest thing people will notice decrease when they remove gluten. You need to improve your overall digestion. That is the root of some of these problems. So eating things like cultured foods or probiotic foods will help increase and
Like
improve.
yogurt too, right?
Yeah, some yogurt, like, you know, not make sure it's like whole, not with a lot of sugar, but improve your digestion so that you can tolerate this.
We're out of time. Just as a recap then about gluten and people who are watching wondering, should I go gluten-free?
So I would say, I always tell people, be your best, smartest consumer and kind of look at it, remove it for a little bit, and then add it in high quality sources and see how you respond.
Okay.
You know, because you can remove it and then you start getting the itch for other foods and then you bring it back in with a gluten-free cookie, or you know what I mean. Be smart, remove it, let the inflammation go down, add it in a little bit, see how you respond, and then, you know, go from there. But in general, you should have lower amounts of a lot of these grains. You should have more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, lean proteins, more nutrient-dense foods.
Okay. Good
All right.
information. Here's how you can find out more about Maria and all of her great information. Go to her website. There it is on your screen. She's a certified holistic nutritionist. Great to have you. Thank you so much.
you.